And cedar trees are their habitats, so you can't cut the trees down. Well, years ago, cedar trees were not considered pests. Cedar trees, the heartwood has an oil in it that repels termites. And up until about the end of World War II, nearly all the houses in San Antonio were built on cedar posts because the posts repel termites. And these were chopped down by cedar choppers up in the hill country. At the same time, they also cut down enough cedar posts to build about 1 million miles of barbed wire fence. A number of years ago, I guess it's around 1949, my brother-in-law Howard and my sister Essie owned a ranch over close to Concan. And this is where there was still a lot of hard cedar up in the hills. Hard cedar was considered very desirable because it had very little sapwood. It was nearly all hardwood. And they had a neighbor named Rollins, who was a cedar chopper. And Rollins was what they used to call a good old boy. And good old boys, if your car wouldn't start on a cold morning, he would come over and help you get it started. Or if he saw a lady with a flat tire by the side of the road, he'd stop and change her tire and get her started up again. He'd never use bad words in front of ladies. It was always yes ma'am, no ma'am. Just the salt of the earth. And that's the way good old boys used to be way back. Well, one night Rollins was over at a bar in Uvalde. Prior to this, my brother-in-law Howard said that he had seen Rollins' cedar axe. This was before chainsaws. And cedar axes were developed with a shorter handle than a felling axe because cedar trees are usually like big bushes, and cedar choppers have to get in between the limbs to cut off a number of the branches before they can start chopping down the tree. So anyway, Howard said that Rollins' cedar axe was the most unusual axe he'd ever seen. Instead of it being sharpened, just say like back an inch from the tip of the blade, it was sharpened all the way back to the back of the axe head. And on top of that, Rollins would keep it honed down so you could just about see your reflection in it. It was sharp enough to shave with. Well, anyway, Rollins was over at this bar in Uvalde, and he was drinking a beer, not bothering anybody. And this loudmouth guy named Red started insulting Rollins, and then started picking a fight with him. And they started to fight, and Red pulled out a frog stick or knife. And when Rollins saw that, he ran out the front door. And Red laughed and went back to the bar, got another beer, and he had taken maybe 2 gulps of beer when the front door opened up. And there was Rollins. And he had his cedar axe. He'd gone out to his car, his pickup, and gotten his axe. And everybody in the bar froze. There wasn't a sound from anybody, not even from the jukebox. Well, Red lunged at Rollins with his knife. And cedar choppers are very handy with their axes. They can, if a limb is like 3 inches in diameter, it might take me or you a dozen hacks at it to cut it off the trunk. A cedar chopper can cut that limb off with just 1 stroke. Well, when Red lunged at Rollins with that knife, zip, that knife clattered to the floor. And then zip, Red's head was rolling around by the bar.
Yeah.
And the boys by the bar were kicking it away. And some said that that head was still cussing. Well, Rollins got arrested, of course, and there was a trial. And the jury went out, and they couldn't decide at first whether it was suicide or self-defense. They finally decided it was best to say it was self-defense, so they came back in and said Rollins was innocent. Well, that's been a long time ago. Now, all foundations are concrete foundations. They don't use cedar posts anymore. And they use T-bar steel posts instead of cedar posts. But there's still a few cedar choppers around up in the hills. And these cedar choppers that are left are just geniuses at living off the land. You know, they've got axis deer and feral hogs, not to mention whitetail deer. And they're also very adept at converting any kind of wild fruit like blueberries or wild plums, wild cherries, elderberry, into very delicious, delectable wine. And once you taste some of that wine, it spoils you forever from getting anything from HEB.